Thanks for listening to Paper Girl Podcast. My name is Melodie. I'm the host, a former librarian, and co-owner of Meadow Market Books in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today's guest for the very first episode of Paper Girl is my partner, my best friend, my one-man book club, I guess two-man book club.
I'm two people?
I'm one person, you're one person.
Okay.
Jared Coulter.
Hello. It's me.
Thank
I'm
you
here.
for coming to the podcast, baby.
I didn't have a choice. But I'm not held here without my own will.
Yeah, you agreed to this.
Yes.
Yes.
I was forced into agreeing to this.
Yes, thank you. It was a re-record because I recorded a version of episode 1 and I hated it because it was just me. I can't do anything on my own.
I liked it. I edited it. I liked it. It'll be a bonus episode in the future.
That tells you about his taste. But yeah, so we're
Wait,
Jared.
what does that mean? My taste?
Your taste.
It's good, right?
I don't know. I'm a little concerned now.
I picked this shelf.
It's a good shelf. I added to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with
So
this.
we're here to talk about our store, Meadow Market Books, because this was kind of the catalyst for the podcast and is a culmination of our love of reading and, you know, our interactions with the community.
Yeah.
So we have a list of questions that Tulsa kids sent us.
You can read them in their magazine when they publish them, but
And
we're giving a
we'll
little
share.
teaser here.
Yeah, a little teaser, a little taste, and I think we're going to probably get a lot more in depth than they will in the article.
But it's because the questions were so good that we stole them from Tulsa Kids
Yes.
to answer them here.
Yeah. Journalists supporting journalists and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they want to know a little bit about the background, what inspired us to start Meadow Market Books, and what's special about the location.
Well, I feel like you've told this story 1,000 times, and I think I'm thinking of that because in the first episode, the test episode, you went into detail, and so I listened to that thoroughly. And I think you tell it best.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, so it starts really when we started dating, because we read so much and we were recommending books to each other and talking about books.
I do want to say, I don't feel like I read as much until we started dating. I think I was trying to impress the librarian in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I am glad you got me back into reading because I'm an addict now.
I love it. And Jared is a mailman, and so he ends up reading a lot of audiobooks, which I did convince you did count as reading.
Yeah.
But
It really lowers the barrier. But because I feel like I read so much, and with audiobooks, it, like I said, it lowers the barrier. And so reading physical books or ebooks or whatever feels a lot more easy to slip into.
Yeah. So he reads a lot of audiobooks, but we are also big time book collectors.
Yeah.
Not of anything particularly special, but
We have always loved supporting local stores, and specifically independent bookstores. And the best way to do that is to buy books. And we loved to do that.
yeah. So our first indie bookstore day was 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and we spent entirely too much money.
Yeah, sure.
2021 was a good year for indie bookstore day because we still had like Witty Books and Fulton Street and Eleanor's and of course Magic City.
Yep.
And so there was a really thriving indie bookstore community. And those four in particular were especially collaborative. And so we hit all of them. It felt like a big scavenger hunt to grab a book from every place and spend some time. And then in 2022, we did the indie bookstore sleepover at Magic City.
Yep.
And had an absolute blast, and then still hit all of the stores.
I think that is the year I finally was like, oh, I feel like a reader, because I bought Kill Creek and laid on the floor in Magic City and found myself completely sucked into that book. And that was one of the first used books we sold, because I put it on the shelf over here, sold it to a friend of mine, and said, this is the book that got me into reading. And or back into reading. So
Yeah, after Kill Creek, it's rare to see you without a book in your hands if you've got some downtime, and that was
when I'm
really
not playing
exciting.
video games.
Yeah, an avid video game guy. That's okay. You can have multiple
Oh, I
interests.
used to love reading game guides when I was a kid.
Oh, yes. I wound up with Guitar Hero 2 because of a Game Informer.
Well, okay. That's it. Fallout 3 for me. Went to GameStop, had Fallout 3 was on the cover of Game Informer, and my grandma was like, "You're looking at that. Do you want that magazine?" And I was like, "Uh huh."
I really want that magazine.
Yeah. So she bought me a year subscription to Game Informer. Oh, I didn't even think about that. How much reading I did. I would comb through that magazine.
Yeah, they say that children with at least 10 reading materials in their family home have better literacy rates and better outcomes for like graduating high school and college.
I didn't graduate college.
And well, that's okay. That's okay. And your mom had a ton of books, so it's not a
Yeah, see,
perfect
it's not a
system.
perfect system.
But you're a lifelong learner, which is something that I've always admired about you. And magazines and newspapers count as those reading materials. As
That's
long as
true.
the kid has access to them, that's the predictor.
Did we answer the first question yet?
Oh, we haven't even really started. But that all sets you up to say that we had a lot of books on the shelf. And so 2022, I also lost my job.
Mhm.
And so I had until August to figure out what I was going to do because I had a contract with a school. And
Yes.
so the contract was ending
Oh,
and my last
I remember
paycheck.
the story now. Is then decided to start selling our used books,
Yeah.
and then you immediately got a new job, and it kind of fell to the wayside.
Yeah.
And then we get to the mobile bookstore.
But the idea of selling used books and then the name all came from
Living by Tracy Park.
we lived by Tracy
In
Park.
Tracy Park.
Yeah, well, we lived in the Tracy Park neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
And then we saw on I think it was probably Facebook Marketplace,
Yeah, a snow
snow
cone
cone.
shack, a full shack with all this stuff. And we wanted to put that in Tracy Park and sell snow cones. And then as a
Sell
fun little thing,
books.
also do books.
And so, and Tracy Park, for those who aren't around Tulsa or who don't know the neighborhoods around Tulsa, it's across the street from Meadow Gold,
Meadow Gold
which is
District.
the Meadow Gold shopping district at 11th and Peoria. And it's got a lot of local businesses that we really enjoy. And we were like, oh, well, we would want to kind of be part of that,
Mhm.
and Tracy Park has a big field of grass before its playground. And
Yeah,
so
next to the fountain.
feels meadowy. And we're like, well, Meadow Market just feels right. And then I got the job. And so that kind of fell by the wayside. And then in 2024, I was back on Facebook Marketplace, just scrolling around.
Always.
Well, when I can't be bothered to drive to an antique mall,
Yeah.
my next best thing is to scroll social media. And I'm usually on the Love Me Two times Instagram, but when I've exhausted all of the posts I haven't seen, then it's on to Marketplace to see what people are selling from their homes. And someone was selling this camper that had been completely redone to be a retail space. And I showed it to you because I thought the camper was just really cute. The paint job was really cute.
Yeah. And then, like I encouraged you to do something with it because I'm never brave enough to go for anything, but I know that if I throw an idea at you, you're going to run with it. And so that's what happened. I was like, oh, that would be a bookstore. We could put the bookstore in there.
Yeah.
And then before I knew it, I was like, oh, we're actually doing, I didn't just do a funny little bit.
Well, you made a little bit and then I made a bit. It's always a bit with us.
Always a bit.
I posted it, like I shared it onto my feed and I was like, Dear Sharks, I'm seeking an angel investor for this. I think it was like a $5,000 camper, of $5,000 to turn this camper into a mobile bookstore. And people glommed onto the idea. They were like, I'd do it. I would contribute to a crowdfunding campaign. And I was like, oh, well, I've got 1,000 friends on Facebook. If everybody sent me $5, and then people did Venmo me $5.
Yeah.
And so we ended up starting an Indiegogo campaign. But while we were in the process of setting that up, the camper got sold.
Mhm.
And that didn't stop us. And so we kind
It
of
should
kept,
have.
no, you know what? I'm glad it didn't,
Well,
because
yeah.
all of it, though, that was a chain reaction of events that set us up to be here today.
Yeah. So to cut the story down, we ended up finding another camper, and we were overly ambitious, and we're like, this camper is gutted, but only has floors and insulation, but no walls or anything else done to it. And we were like, oh, we could do that.
Yeah, well, like, it's a white camper. We can paint it
Yeah.
cute. We can put walls in. We'll learn how to wire a camper. We have 2 kids.
Fast forward, it's been in our driveway for over a year with nothing done to it.
I bought walls
We
in
had
January
walls,
of 2025.
which we leaned up inside of the camper, which I think damaged the structural integrity of the camper. But that's for the problem of the person that we sold the camper to.
Yeah, and so at the beginning of 2025, I had done the 13 magical nights, where you make 13 wishes and you burn 12 of them, and then you're left with 1 wish. And that's your job to make that happen. The rest of the wishes can or cannot happen. You read tarot cards to kind of get an idea of what the next few months are going to look like. And then that final wish is your responsibility to make happen. And that final wish happened to be to make Meadow Market happen. So in November of 2025, toward the end, I was sad. We put the camper up for sale. There's no chance we're going to be finishing it. This is another dream that's going to have to, lie dormant. A transition. And that same day, I was like, oh, let's go get coffee on Cherry Street, because I'm sad and I don't want to make coffee and we need beans. And
I'm an enabler.
And you're an enabler. And we wound up at the coffee shop next to the old gas pedal building. It's a flower shop that was on Cherry Street for most of the beginning of our relationship. And it's been a special place for us. We're answering some of the questions in that. The number 2 was a multi-part question.
Okay.
So this building sold us flowers. It sold me flowers in a time in my life where I was trying to really like date myself and take pleasure in things that just make me happy. And so I bought a lot of flowers from Gas Pedal. We took our very first family photos with the kids here.
We
with
met Santa Claus.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Real good dude.
I think I'm a fan of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
And you know what? Santa heard what those kids wanted for Christmas, and those kids got...
It's so weird. Growing up, Santa never heard my wishes.
But he heard the kids' wishes. And
no, Santa heard my wishes, but I got GameCube and Xbox confused. And so I said Xbox, but I meant GameCube.
You got what you asked for.
I got what I asked for. And then I became an Xbox kid, or raggy. Xbox kids are weird. GameCube kids are a different kind of weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're all a little weird.
Back to books.
And, we bought our wedding flowers in this room when we got married at Magic City Books.
Mm-hmm.
And they expanded into a lot more like apparel and home goods. And so in September, they closed down here and moved to Broken Arrow. And in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, that would have been a cute little bookstore, but I never really entertained it because of the camper. And then every time we were in this area, there wasn't any information on what was going to happen to the building.
Also, it's Cherry Street.
And it's Cherry Street. So like,
what are the chances?
I didn't think we'd be able to make it happen. Surely someone had their sights set on this building already. But the day that I put the camper up for sale,
sad.
We were here.
We go get coffee.
And there's a for lease sign in the window.
Mm-hmm. So
and I'm like, that's definitely not been there. I made Jared drive around twice because somebody was behind us when I was trying to get it the first time.
We're just going the wrong way on the street anyway. Come on, people. There's an arrow.
We were also going the wrong way.
Yeah, but we were doing it with purpose.
Yeah.
When you're driving, you're always right and everyone else is wrong.
Exactly. So I texted the number because I'm a filthy millennial, and the landlord called me like an hour later. I was in the bedroom and I talked to him. I, figured out the terms. And then after we got off the phone, because I said I needed to talk to you about it, I went out and told you the terms, and your jaw hit the floor. And you were like, I think we can do it. I thought when he reacted that way that it was because it another door closed. And And
but I'm an enabler.
you are an enabler. And so we toured the building. We've spent a lot more time in it than the landlord has the last few years. He's a nice guy, very hands off. And we walked in and we're like, we could do this. This could be real.
Yeah.
And then here it was.
Here we are.
Yeah. So that's the story.
That's question one.
Question
you
one.
said question two was a multi-parter?
Well, that was technically question two. Question one was our names.
Oh, do we do that? Hi, I'm Jared.
we did. But in case you forgot, I'm Melodie. So what makes us unique as a bookstore?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to be unique. People have asked us a lot, like, what is your focus? What are you gonna? And I think my view on it is that we're going to focus on what interests us and what other people ask of us. Because I don't want to say that our focus is engaging with our community and supporting our community, because I feel like any local business that is worth their weight is doing that. Like, you don't open a local business not just to not support your local community. And I feel like all the local bookstores already do a pretty good job of that. But I think our focus is to continue that and ensure that is something that continues to exist and flourish, as Tulsa is a great place for community and supporting each other.
Yeah, I don't think Tulsa could ever have too many bookstores.
No.
The reaction that people have had when they come in here, they always say, oh, Tulsa needs more bookstores. And fortunately, unfortunately, a lot of Tulsa's local bookstores closed within the last year and a half, which is awful. But, it is the nature of this time. And, this is a gamble. Opening a small business is a gamble, and it's hard to see people that we care about close a business, and then to make the risk of, well, what makes us different about them. And I don't know, I'm just hoping that
this thing is, though, I don't want us to be different, because I want to be what I admired, but I guess you want to be different in the sense that we don't want to have to close ever. So I don't think I don't think we're trying to pull any tricks. We're not trying to do anything to like game the system so that we become successful or anything like that. I think we just want to do what feels like the right things to do to make this work for us and the community and the people that want to come in and buy books or anything like that. And so I think that would be the answer, is that what was the question? Verbatim.
What makes us unique?
Yeah, I would say nothing, but
maybe just
with
us.
with a positive spin. Yeah, it's us. We're unique. We're special snowflakes.
Well, I think that's what makes Magic City unique, is that it's run by a nonprofit with a big focus on literacy. Peace of Mind is very like metaphysical, and they support a community that is pretty underrepresented in Tulsa. Speaking about, not the big major religions, and focusing on spirituality in that regard. And, Oak Tree has their focus on rare books. Gardeners is, used books, but, full of bestsellers, and they prioritize high interest.
Gardeners feels like the Strand in New York City, like a kind of like a version of that.
Like a unique staple, a place that you've got to see.
Yeah, when I was in the basement at the Strand, it was, I felt like I was roaming the stacks at Gardner's in a very, very good, positive way.
I love
Plus, it was cooler down there. It was so hot when we went.
Yeah, it's real hot in New York City in the summer. Breaking news. I think the one thing that I would say makes us a little bit different is accessibility for local creators.
Mm.
And I don't mean that as a dig on anybody else. I just think that because of our positioning, it's a little easier for an author to come in here and say, "Will you carry my books?" And
And then we
we haven't said,
excitedly jump up and say, yes, 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 yes,
"Yes,
yes.
yes, yes, here's a Sharpie, sign them. Let me get your information so we can pay you when your books sell." And we haven't said no to anybody yet as far as Tulsa authors. We've said hold on a couple of independent authors who have reached out to us.
Yeah.
Just because,
We've got a lot
starting a
going on.
business and vetting those things is a little harder,
Yeah.
when they're not local. But, people walk in and give us a couple copies of their books and we make them sign them. And I think that's the one thing that really that sets us apart. But that's not to say like that locals aren't supportive anywhere else, because that's not true. As a person who has participated in the Magic City Book Bash, I think Magic City is providing something really special to local authors, and I think we're just adding to it. And I
For
like
sure.
that. So our next question kind of falls in line with that. What kind of books people can find here? Specific
Whatever you want,
emphases.
but you have to ask for it.
Yeah. So we have limited shelf space. And so we try to pick through bestsellers and things that interest. And, I kind of follow the collection development mind of my librarian training. But we really are jonesing for anything written by Oklahomans, written for Oklahomans,
About Oklahomans.
about Oklahomans. And then a nice mix of the bestsellers, some gaming. We have a nice RPG shelf
Yeah.
that's growing. And as far as carrying books for all ages, yeah, we've got kids and we have family with young children. We want to make sure that everybody can find something that interests them or gets them excited, makes them want to read. And then, of course, we're always open to making orders.
Yeah. I hope it's we have an ever evolving shelf situation.
Yeah, I will say not once has the store looked the same
No.
at opening. There's always something new on the shelf. Something's rearranged, something else is featured, which has been really exciting. Even last night I was in here recording with Jess McCutcheon, and then after she left, I inventoried some new books. And so the shelf looks different from when you left.
Yeah.
And the next question there is, what about gift items? Do we work with local artists and makers? Yes.
Yeah. My vision is, because we have a few gift items that we got that aren't local, which are very cute and great options, but I would like eventually to replace all of those with local made stuff or stuff from local vendors. I would like, because we are a bookstore, I feel like we can really lean into that with stuff that isn't books, and really make sure that we support anyone that has something to share with the community. As long as we have counter space and shelf space and wall space, we want people to have their stuff here, just to get eyes on it and then hopefully make some money. Not for us, but for the artists. I think that's super important. And it's fun. I know when I go to a bookstore, sometimes you find the one book you want, but you want to add a little bit extra, and finding a really cool art print or a kit for doing a craft, or even just something to make that day a little more memorable because you have a new keychain or something, is all part of a fun experience. And knowing that, someone that I maybe know or could know or live in the neighborhood next to had a hand in that is, I think an experience that ties us all together in a really fun way.
Yeah. I love every time somebody's looking over at the gifts area, and they pick up something from like Blue Prism or Banana Franklin Art House. And I talk about like interacting with them at the farmers market and, oh, here's how you can
Yeah.
find more of it. And it's an opportunity for us to market people that we really care about
Hmm.
and that we enjoy their art. And then also like lift up local makers and kind of take a little bit of the burden off of them because doing the market scene is hard.
Yeah.
And but there's really just you can't rely on just having a website, and not everybody has the money to run a gallery.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff just doesn't make sense to run a gallery. So anytime we can partner, it feels really good to be able to partner and uplift. And
Hmm.
we've got this space, and I'm really excited to use it.
For sure. Hopefully one day we'll get to a point where we have to be choosy, which is going to hurt. But we're not there yet. We want stuff in here as much as we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, Talk about buying and selling used books. Can people bring in books to trade? Yes.
Yeah.
That's like you heard at the beginning, that was the start of Meadow Market Books, was in used books. And looking at the used bookshelf from afar, very few of our books are still on that shelf.
Yeah.
They've been purchased, which means they've got new life.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about that.
I was blown away by the support for the whole process of used books, because I feel like that is a market that exists, especially with gardeners, but people seemed really excited to bring in their books, and something comes off of that shelf almost every day that we're open. And I think that is super exciting because it's really increases access to just having books, because the new books aren't cheap. And so getting a used book to take home and then knowing you can bring it back here and you get store credit right back on it is that's supporting literacy. And as long as there are good books to be read, which there are a few bad books in existence.
Every book has its reader, right?
Yeah, you love saying that.
Well, it's a library law.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the 5 laws of library science.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna find a way. What about all the books that libraries don't carry?
And if they don't carry them, it's usually like because,
Oh, that community doesn't need that book.
yeah, the community hasn't asked for that book. Because usually if you ask the library to carry a book, if they've got money for it, they'll do it. And then if they don't carry it, they usually have a way to access it.
I love interlibrary loans.
Oh, yeah, you do. Interlibrary loan.
That's how I read that Steve Martin book.
I wouldn't have been able to finish my book without interlibrary loan because I needed a book published in the 50s that one university in Kansas had.
Cool.
So we love the library, obviously, as a former librarian.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I love more than making sure that there's access to books. And so I'm excited to still be part of that community. I want to talk about events.
I love them.
Yeah, we have space, which is hard to come by as creatives. And so we want to be a hosting ground for that. We are hosting some comedy shows.
Yeah.
We have an improv duo, and we have some friends in an improv duo. So we'll be doing a show in February called Brad Habble.
It's in February?
It is in February.
Man, I got to look at the calendar more. I made the poster for it. I don't...
But we'll have a little improv show. It's a small space, but it's bigger than some of the spaces we performed in. Yeah. So we can make it work.
Yeah, for sure. Good. I love that idea too of a tiny little space for a tiny little thing, because when you're in a small space, everything feels so much bigger, like emotionally, and
a big connection point.
Yeah. You can't sit in the back of the room and divorce yourself from what is happening in the rest of the room. You're involved no matter what.
100%. I think I talk a lot about a comedy show that we saw in the back room of an ice cream parlor.
Thanks,
it could fit maybe like 20 people. And that was the most fun I've ever had. And I felt really connected. And, sometimes when I see comedy shows, after we leave, I might like say thanks so much to the comic as I'm like scurrying out, but I felt really empowered to like stay and have a little conversation with the comics,
Yeah.
and it felt like we were all friends who had had this shared experience together.
That's how we got Hugo Willie at Make 'em Laugh.
Yeah,
And that's fun.
we made a connection, and we got to really see his work and had a great time. Um, in addition to the comedy nights, we've got one coming up in March with Brett Jeffries.
Yeah.
She's put together a really great cast. That's an uh, invite only set to kind of test the waters for her. But she's really excited about it. She's also planning to host a book club specifically talking about social conditioning, so avoiding scams that like people give away their personal information, like filling out those surveys that are like, what was the make of your first car? Fun nostalgia, and also a bank question. So it's a nice opportunity to kind of help the community in a way.
That's fun.
We've got a book club coming up second Saturday of February. We're going to be reading The Artist Way with Third Space. We are also hosting the Dungeon Crawler Carl Book Club. I don't think that's their official name. I'm not sure if they have an official name, but they kind of rove around Tulsa hosting book clubs, but they happen to be reading Butcher's Masquerade. So February 24th, we're partnering with Tulsa Girls Social Club. We're not hosting that book club, but we're helping them out sourcing books.
Oh, yes.
They specifically asked about Mum Day, which she asked if it was about moms. Not specifically.
Okay. I saw that question and I thought that was so funny because mum is like such a British thing in both of the definitions. The first definition is a mother, but the second definition is to be silent.
Yes.
Which that's the intention of the naming convention.
Yeah, we wanted to be a little punny, but I think we do need to be more specific. But Mum Days is a silent reading party, book club kind of thing. We'll encourage people to silently browse and enjoy the space. We've got some nice comfy seating that we'll have available and some specials on the mood brews that we carry, and just let people kind of enjoy the space and some quiet. So if you are a mom, that might be something you're very interested in. Let the kids be put to bed by someone else and then come enjoy some quiet time with your book and a beverage and enjoy that. So we're also hosting a creative writing workshop with Create Tulsa on the 15th of March. We'll be doing that in conjunction with Jess McCutcheon and her Side Quests and Shenanigans endeavor. So we're going to have a really great time. The space is available if you ask us about it.
Yeah.
We'll look at the calendar and try our darndest to make it happen.
Yeah. Like you said, we have space, and that is hard to come by as creatives. And if it's not getting used, then what is it for?
Exactly. We've already used it up.
Yep, it's all gone. Used it right up.
Space.
Yep.
We've used the heck out of the space since we got it.
Rehearsals.
It was like a week after we signed the lease, when it was just not even the yellow wall hadn't been painted at all. The shelves hadn't been put in, and all we had was a rug.
Yeah.
This rug here, and I had folks come over and do a rehearsal in here for an original play, Rough Run.
Yep.
And then we've done some improv rehearsals in here. So we're recording a podcast in here. So there's a lot to do with the space, and we just want to make sure that people feel like this is a shared opportunity and a shared space. And I'm excited to see the culmination of that today. When we're done recording, we're going to be opening the doors, not for business, but to do some community organizing during the national shutdown to protest ICE violence. We'll be making signs for the demonstrations that are planned for tomorrow. We'll be handing out some supplies. We'll be watching some documentaries. So we're going to release this podcast in like 2 hours. So if you happen to hear it and you want to come by, share in community, we're not selling anything today, just spending time with our people.
Yep.
And getting informed and making calls to representatives and using our voices. So
We've been using our voice for the last hour.
yes. Last few questions. Are there books that you'd like to recommend or anything you'd like to share?
You first on this one.
Yeah. So we both just finished reading both Mutual Aid by Dean Spade and My Year of Rest and Relaxation by, I forgot her name.
There's an O.
Yeah, it's like Otessa. It's on our Libro and our bookshop.
Yeah. It's got a great cover.
It's the Riverfield Parents Book Club pick for February.
Okay.
Yeah, the cover's fantastic. It made me kind of understand why people liked Catcher in the Rye. I didn't like Catcher in the Rye.
I've got to go read Catcher in the Rye just because I love the spicy take.
So here's the thing about Catcher in the Rye. I hate that book.
It's not for you.
It wasn't for me. Listen, it's really and truly the audience is Holden Caulfield, 17-year-old angsty teenage boy. I'm not any of those things. I was an angsty teenage girl, but I read Catcher in the Rye when I was in my early 20s. And I was just so annoyed by him.
I find myself annoyed that there's a specific time that you can read certain books, but then I think I don't read picture books right now. And the specific time for those were when I was a child. But that doesn't mean I couldn't get anything out of it.
You should read some picture
books.
I'd
dig into a picture. You know what? I'd take it all back.
Yeah, you have to. I wrote Clever Woman because of a picture book.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. I was telling you I'd taken an edible, and I can admit to this now that I'm not teaching anymore. I didn't take the edible at school. I took the edible that evening after I had read the book to the kids, and it's called Codebreaker Spy Hunter, and it's about Elizabeth Friedman, the mother of cryptography. Yeah. And she got her start in code breaking trying to decode Shakespeare plays for evidence that Francis Bacon wrote them.
That's
and so
fantastic.
In an edible induced rant, I was telling you about the book, and then I was like, well, maybe Shakespeare didn't write all his plays. What if women wrote his plays? Because women weren't allowed to be literate, which is, they were allowed to be literate, but, because England was at war with France, there was, suspicion of treason if you were a literate woman carrying around written work. And then suddenly I was at the library researching Elizabethan architecture and writing a book about what if women wrote Shakespeare's plays.
Okay, so if that haze got you to write that book, what is it going to take to get you to write the Care and Keeping of You play that you've been talking about?
I need to re-up on my edibles.
Okay.
Because that was also
such a fun idea. I've still been clinging to it.
Yeah, it's still in the works. Just trying to clear my head. Life been lifing.
Great. For me, recommendations. I don't know. It's hard because I just think about books that I recently read. And I don't have my story graph in front of me, so I don't remember what I recently read besides Mutual Aid, which I think everyone should read, and My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which was really good. Holly is coming to mind. It's Stephen King. I really enjoyed reading that.
We're going to have to do a counter for times Melodie cries in a podcast, and I cried last night. Just a little teary toward the end. Just laughed at me. But we also talked about Stephen King, so I think Stephen King mentions have to go up there.
Yeah. I'm trying to read all of his books before he gets canceled for something. I'm like, there's something there. But I mean, I guess if the scenes in It didn't do it, what will?
Yeah, I think if people have a criticism of Stephen King is probably those scenes in It.
I just still love that book though.
We could just not read those scenes.
Yeah, I won't get into it.
Yeah.
If you want to hear my opinions on It, well,
ask me about them.
Ask me
about them.
I'm looking at it. Dungeon Crawler, Carl. I mean, you probably already know about it, but just to reiterate, it's stupid addicting. You'll start the first one and be like, actually, I'll have another, and then actually, I'll have another, and then
And
soon
they're
you're on to the last one.
huge books.
Yeah, that's why the audiobook is
I
so
was
great.
shocked because you read them on audio, and you read so much audio that I don't really like have a sense of the time it takes to read those books. And then when we unpacked, we ordered one copy of the entire series, one copy each, and I read this huge book and I opened it up. It was all that one copy each of the series.
Yep.
And then it all got bought in one fell swoop.
Thanks, Jaden.
Yeah. His hairdresser recommended this book,
And then she bought all
and
the
then
books.
she went and bought them because she had done them on audio too, but she
Yeah.
wanted the shelf
She's
trophies,
a
which is
shelf trophy.
fair.
Yep.
You should have the shelf trophy to congratulate yourself for that.
Also, the covers are cool.
They are
They're
really
fun to
good
look at.
covers. We should look up the cover artist. I'm getting really interested in cover art processes right now.
Yeah, it's like when you realize movie posters were designed by somebody, and then you start, looking across the.
Did you know the Star Wars poster it's a drawing? It's a drawing.
Half that movie is a drawing, or those movies. They hand drew in the backgrounds.
Really?
Yeah, in the first few, I think, and then in the prequels they made 3 miniature models. I'm sorry. We're getting off track.
No, I'm excited to learn something new.
I just love yapping.
I think my final question before we wrap this up so we can open
Do you
the
have
doors.
a question, or is this a question?
This is not a question on here.
Oh,
It's something that
is it
I
for
want
me?
to ask everybody. Yeah, I guess it's for you. Yeah.
For me?
Something that's surprised you about this point, up to this point in your journey as a reader, as a bookstore owner, as a writer yourself, a creative.
Something that's surprised
me or that you find interesting.
Yeah. What I find shocks me every time when I'm reading is how prescient novels are. And you could say that about like 1984. You could say that about
Parable of the Sower.
Parable of the Sower. Like, yeah, those books are very prescient. It's crazy how close they got it to like what we're actually experiencing. But it's also in any other book that you read, there's always something that you're like, how did they know that this was it? Or how did they express this feeling? I thought this was something I felt like alone in, or I didn't even pay that much attention to, but I feel like every time I'm reading something, I'm always shocked by how I feel seen by the author in just the most weirdest ways. And that's something that has surprised me. And I think if more people knew that was an experience they could have through reading, I think more people would be excited about reading. And I mean, in nonfiction, in fiction, literally anything, you're going to be reading and see yourself in it, or find how someone so different from you will always have parallels to what you are experiencing or how you feel. And that's something that continually surprises me every time I pick up a book.
I love that.
All right. And now flip it and reverse it. What's your answer?
Damn. I had this question. I handled my heat. I think something that I've really enjoyed specifically about opening this store is that every reader's background is so different. And I noticed this a little bit at the library, like the different personalities that you meet in the library. But because of the idea that libraries are supposed to be quiet, which I don't subscribe to, you don't get to chat quite as much. There were a couple of very notable relationships that I built with patrons at the library, but coming into the bookstore, somebody picks up a book and I can't help myself and I yap with them about it. and I just have met already in 30 days of owning a bookstore, have met so many people that I would have never really bumped into on the street and have engaged with all of these really interesting stories. And so, you know, it, I talk about reading as a community driver, and somehow shocks me every time that I'm like, oh my gosh, this new connection with another person who I probably wouldn't have had a chance to connect with, but the bookstore has provided an opportunity for us to connect on a human level and teach each other something. And I think that's really cool.
You're right. I changed my answer.
That's your answer
that's
too?
my answer now.
You picked that?
Yeah. Forget everything I said before. That was dumb.
I love it. I really enjoyed doing this with you, and I'm excited to see where the bookstore takes us.
Yeah. And the podcast and all the new people we meet and all the new art we get to engage with.
It's such a good time.
Yeah.
I think this is, we're wrapping up here, and I just wanted to give the community a huge thank you for the way they've really rallied in our favor and supported us. The folks at Magic City Books, our old friends at Witty, Tyler Thrasher, all of the artists that have participated with us.
And Mary about to walk in the door, but it's locked.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll be open in just a moment. He's going to open the door for her. But, special shout out to Mike Ward, Memory Cycle, who's painting our windows with a really cute artsy situation. It's been a joy, and it's really been a reminder that everything that you put into your community comes back to you, and you can't support each other enough. And I think that's something that we really need. So I appreciate that. I thank you for listening. The second episode is also going to be up at the same time as episode 1. It features Jess McCutcheon. She's talking about her upcoming release with Josh Wan. And when I say upcoming, I mean it's releasing tomorrow, January 31st, from 4 to 6 p.m. at Heirloom Rustic Ales. It's a family-friendly free event to participate in, with a lot of beautiful art by Stephanie Bales, and a really incredible opportunity to get creative this year. So thank you for listening to Paper Girl.